Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of my YouTube channel. I'm Monica Burton, and today we're going to be talking about distractions in our romantic relationship. Now, oftentimes when I talk about distractions in relationships, I'm really talking about times when couples are telling me they're super busy, they don't really take time for each other or even for themselves for that matter. And they've found that intimacy, whether it's sexual or emotional intimacy, is kind of dwindling, or they really don't know their partner anymore. And so distractions are things that really just take us away from the core, take us away from our relationship and even from ourselves. So it could be things like staying extra at work because you have to, or maybe you've been assigned to a new project. It could be things like, if you have children and you're, taking one kid to one place and another kid to another place. It could be maybe you've found a new book that you really like to read, or you've been watching a new TV series that you are binge watching. Some of those things, none of those things sound bad necessarily, but it's things that the more we kind of dive into them solo, we're not coming back to the core of our relationship. Someone that I talk a lot about, Dr. John Gottman, talks about ways that, doing small things often. What are the ways that you really turn towards your partner and connect to them? And I know I've said in other videos, he even has this thing where, he calls it the magic 5.5 hours, where if we're nurturing our relationship the 5.5 hours in a full week, not just one day, but in a full week, that means we're, making those connections and nurturing our relationship. If you think about it, 5.5 hours isn't really that long in a full week. It's not a lot of time, but it's also really important time that we need to give each other in our relationship. It is, equally important that I talk about is finding ways to refuel yourself. So as I'm talking about coming back to the relationship, I do want to mention, devoting time to the relationship doesn't mean that you're giving up your self-care time. Reading a good book, going for exercise, doing things that are really nurturing and restorative are important. That actually helps bring good energy back into the relationship. And just like when we do things for the relationship and we feel like we're really connecting to the relationship, we feel good as a couple too. So it's a both and kind of thing. So what I encourage couples to do is to find ways to connect to their marriage or their, long-term relationship that's unique and different. So again, going back to Gottman's 5.5 hours, if you think about it, now he even has, because he likes math, I know I've said this before, he even has how many times a day do you want to connect to reach that 5.5 hours? One of his books, The 7 Principles to Making a Marriage Work, it's got all the research in there and I highly recommend it. But, going back to each couple, it's my belief each couple is unique and different and special in a way. And a commitment that you can make to one another is committing to find ways to turn towards one another and connect to each other. What are the unique ways you guys want to celebrate your relationship and or marriage? So if you enjoy going out to eat, if you're a foodie and you enjoy going out to eat, maybe pick a new restaurant or cook a fun meal at home. A fun favorite meal that you've found out, cook it at home. That's something fun and exciting. If you do enjoy reading individually, maybe read a book together as a couple. Gottman's card decks, the questions to ask each other. Also, Esther Perel has a great game called Where Should We Begin? I'll post the card decks, Gottman card decks, and a link to her game as well. There's, tons of stuff couples can do that don't take a lot of extra time. And if you're still not sure, what I would recommend is take some time in the next few days and just notice times that you feel close and connected to your spouse or partner. And noticing what are you doing in those moments that make you feel close and connected. And those are the times that you want to expand. So again, when we have distractions in the relationship, there are things that pull us away from our relationship. Our relationship is the thing that needs to be cared for. Just like we care, we brush our teeth, we brush our hair, we eat food, we drink water. Our relationship needs fuel to survive and thrive. We don't want to just survive, we want our relationship to thrive. So what are the ways that you can thrive your relationship? You've got to care for it. So again, we all have distractions. We're all super busy. So what are some ways that you can turn towards one another and really focus on connecting and thriving in your relationship? How do you want to care for it? Now, I've done a ton of other videos on this. Your relationship bank account. Don't take your relationship for granted. Ways to communicate. Please feel free to check those out as well. But again, when you notice you have a lot of distractions in the relationship, the first step is to turn towards your partner and say, hey, let's find ways to really start celebrating our relationship every day. Again, Gottman's small things often. What are the small ways that you turn towards one another and connect? And again, ask yourself, instead of thinking like, oh my gosh, now we've got to find something else to do, first just start with what's already happening. Noticing times that you're already close and connected and what's happening in those moments, and then how to expand them. All right, guys, don't let distractions in your relationship continue to pull you apart. Notice the distractions, pause, slow down, and turn towards one another and start coming back to each other to really care and nurture and fuel your relationship. Hope you have a wonderful day. Please comment below and let me know what is one way that you also like to connect in your relationship, or how you help your relationship thrive. And if you have any suggestions for future YouTube videos, please let me know. Hope you have a great day. Take care.